Are you looking to buy a house here in the Denver metro area? What suburbs should you be checking out? Which ones might be right for you? And which ones might be better to avoid for now altogether? That's exactly what we're diving into in this video. But first, quick heads up. My name's Alex Saldani. I'm a local licensed Denver real estate agent since 2010, and I've helped hundreds of people moving to, from, and around the metro area. So I've seen firsthand how these areas evolve and what buyers are really drawn to. And if you want to stay as up to date as possible as to what's going on in our market, there's a link down in the description below to stay on my weekly email. Now, that said, I'm here not to steer anyone or give you my personal opinion on things like crime, schools, or safety. You can look up all those stats. What I can do, and what we're going to do today, is look at just the data. So we pulled 12-month appreciation numbers for 20 of the top Denver suburbs. We're going to show you exactly which ones are going up, which ones are trending down, and what might that mean if you're thinking about buying or selling. And no, this isn't some headline-driven list. This is based on real numbers straight from the MLS. So let's start with the third worst performing suburb in the Denver metro area right now, Commerce City. So starting out here, this is where home prices have dropped by about 5.6% in the past 12 months. Last May, the median home price here was around $535,000. Today, that number's down to $505,000. That's a $30,000 drop. And while it's not the most dramatic on the list for sure, it's a clear signal that buyer demand is cooling off here. Now, on paper, Commerce City checks a few big boxes. You've got proximity to DIA, easy access to I-70 and E-470, and it's one of the few places where you can still find newer homes under $600,000. A lot of people looking for more space, whether it's a bigger house, a 3-car garage, or a decent-sized backyard, end up looking out here in Commerce City. And there's definitely a lot of newer construction, okay? Especially in the communities like Reunion, Turnberry, and Second Creek Farm. It's been a major selling point over the last few years. But what we're seeing now is a shift. Buyers are getting pickier. Just because it's new doesn't mean it sells fast anymore, okay? And part of the challenge with Commerce City is the perception, right? And part of it is layout. There's a heavy industrial presence here in Commerce City, right? Especially closer to I-270 and the refinery corridor. If you've ever driven there, you know what I mean. If you're working at the airport or in logistics, that might not be a deal breaker. But if you're commuting into downtown Denver, you're looking at 30 to 45 minutes in traffic with very limited light rail access. Another thing to think about, there's still a ton of land here, which means a lot of future development. That's good for long-term growth, but it also means constant construction, right? And HOA, heavy neighborhoods, and a lot of cookie-cutter product that doesn't always hold value well in a shifting market. Lifestyle-wise, it's family-oriented, but there's not a ton of nightlife or local charm you'd find like in Arvada or in Littleton. The grocery stores and commercial areas are getting better, but they're still catching up to the housing density. So what we're seeing right now is pretty simple. Supply is still high, demand is cooling off, and prices are adjusting. So if you're a buyer looking for space and don't mind the drive, Commerce City could be a deal. But if you're an owner thinking about selling, you're going to have to compete hard on price and presentation. Number 2, coming in is Lafayette, on the worst performing neighborhoods in Denver, where home values have dropped a surprising 14.7% in the last 12 months. Last May, the median home price here was around $780,000. Today, that number has dropped down to $665,000. That's a $115,000 decline, which is a big deal, especially for a city that's always had this hidden gem reputation on the north side of the metro area. So what's going on here in Lafayette? Well, Lafayette does have a lot going for it, okay? You've got that cozy small town downtown with local coffee shops, breweries, views of the mountains on clear days, and easy access to Boulder, right? Just about 15 to 20 minute drive depending on traffic, but you're also about 30 to 35 minutes from downtown Denver. So location-wise, it checks a lot of boxes for people who work in tech or want proximity to CU without paying Boulder prices. But the housing stock here is mixed, okay? A lot of homes are going to be older, built in the 70s, 80s, even earlier. You'll find some beautiful mid-century properties and historic charm, but that also means deferred maintenance, quirky layouts, and higher costs for buyers who want move-in ready. There is some newer construction on the east side of town, but not a ton, and certainly not enough inventory to drive price growth like we're seeing in places with active new developments like Erie or Castle Pines. Lifestyle-wise, Lafayette leans more relaxed. It's quiet. It feels neighborly, There's open space trails, a weekly farmer's market, and a growing restaurant scene, but it's still pretty limited compared to places like Arvada or Littleton. For some buyers, that's a huge plus, but for others, especially folks relocating from bigger cities, it just feels like less bang for the buck, okay? And that's what we're really seeing in the numbers. At 665, buyers are starting to compare Lafayette to places with more shopping, more restaurants, newer homes, and in some cases, easier commutes. And when you factor in higher interest rates, people just aren't willing to stretch for a house that might still need $50,000 to $100,000 worth of updates. So, bottom line, Lafayette's still a great place to live if you love the vibe. But from a pricing appreciation standpoint, it's been one of the hardest hit suburbs in the metro this year. Now, topping the list of the worst performing suburbs in the Denver metro area this year is Louisville, which saw a massive 16.5% drop in median home prices over the last 12 months. Last May, the median price here was around $1.015 million. Today, it's down to $847,000. That's a $168,000 drop in just 1 year. And for a suburb that's long been considered one of Boulder County's crown jewels, dude, that's a big shift. So what in the world is going on here? Well, Louisville is still an incredibly desirable place to live. You've got walkable historic downtown, easy access to Boulder in under 15 minutes, and a strong community feel with plenty of trails, restaurants, and local events. It's got that boutique kind of small town charm that's tough to replicate anywhere else in the metro area. But here's the thing, homes in Louisville have always come with a premium price tag. And right now, in this high interest rate environment, a lot of buyers are just hitting pause when it comes to crossing that $1 million mark. That premium is harder to justify when nearby areas like Superior, Lafayette, or even Broomfield offer similar space and access for less money. Let's talk about the housing stock. Much of Louisville was developed in the 70s and 80s and early 90s. So you're going to find beautiful tree-lined streets, but a lot of those homes need updates. New kitchens, bathrooms, roofs, you name it. And that adds tens of thousands of dollars to a buyer's budget. And when you're already looking at an $850,000 house, the renovation cost starts to sting. There's also very little new construction here. Louisville is largely built out, and the Marshall Fire in 2021 destroyed hundreds of homes, many of which are still being rebuilt today. That's created a bit of a two-tiered market, newly rebuilt homes selling for top dollar, and everything else sitting longer and often needing updates. And then there's lifestyle here, right? So for the right person, Louisville is perfect. Quiet, it's charming, it's a tight-knit community, but if you're a younger buyer or someone who wants walkability and nightlife, it can feel a little bit sleepy, right? Boulder's close, but not close enough to make up for the price tag in some buyers' minds. So the bottom line here is Louisville still has an incredible long-term potential, but in the short term, it's taken the hardest hit of any suburb in the Denver metro area. All right, let's turn positive because let's face it, Denver is one of the best cities in the country. And starting off our list of top performing suburbs is Littleton, where home prices have climbed 3.8% in the past year. Last May, the median price here was $626,000. Today, it's up to $650,000. While that might not sound like a huge jump in a year where a lot of suburbs are sliding backwards, any gains right now is a win, especially one this consistent. Now, Littleton is one of those suburbs that attracts everyone. First-time buyers, downsizers, families, even people relocating from out of state. Why? Because it gives you a lot of what people come to Colorado for. Trails, mountain views, breweries, that old town charm, all in a super livable package. You've got historic downtown Littleton, which feels like a true main street. Local shops, restaurants, live music, community events. It's got real character, but just a few miles away, you've got suburban neighborhoods with mid-century ranches, split levels, and even newer homes and developments like Sterling Ranch and Southbridge. That variety in housing stock is actually one of Littleton's biggest strengths because buyers can get in at a lower price point with a condo or townhouse or go all the way up to $1 million for a fully updated home near the foothills. There's something for almost everyone here in every budget. Commute-wise, you're about 25 to 30 minutes from downtown Denver with light rail access, which is a big draw for folks who want to work in the city but live somewhere quieter. You're also right next to Chatfield State Park, which adds huge lifestyle value. Boating, biking, hiking, dog parks, it's all right there. And while Littleton isn't adding a ton of new construction compared to some of the other suburbs, what's already here holds value pretty well. It's established, it's in demand, and it's close to everything people want without feeling chaotic. So while a nearly 4% price gain might seem modest, it does show strength. Buyers are still competing for homes in Littleton, and the lifestyle continues to back up the price. Coming in at number 2 is Arvada, where home prices have risen 4.2% over the last 12 months. Median price jumped from $626,000 up to $652,500, which again might not seem like a dramatic climb, but again, in a market where a lot of suburbs are sliding backwards, this kind of steady appreciation tells you that there's real buyer demand here. So what makes Arvada tick? Well, it's one of the few suburbs in Denver where you get a solid blend of walkability, history, and growth all in one place. You've got Old Town Arvada, which is one of the most charming downtowns in the metro area. Breweries, coffee shops, restaurants, live music on the weekends. It's got personality, and buyers love it. Beyond the downtown core, Arvada stretches out into a bunch of residential pockets with very different feels to them, right? You've got some mid-century neighborhoods like Lamar Heights, newer developments out in the Candelas and Layton Rock, and then everything in between. And that variety means that buyers have options across multiple price points, from townhomes in the 400s to custom homes well over $1 million. And then there's location. Arvada sits just 20 minutes from downtown Denver and about the same to Boulder depending on where you're coming from. So if you're commuting to either Tech or the city, it's a solid middle ground. You've also got access to I-70, US 36, and the G-Line light rail, which gives commuters one-day trippers more flexibility, okay? In terms of lifestyle, it's very Colorado. You've got parks, trails, quick access to the mountains, and Arvada is one of the few cities that continue to invest in public spaces and development without losing its identity. It still feels local, even though it grows, right? So why is it performing so well? Well, it's established, it's well located, and it offers a kind of character that newer suburbs just can't fake. For buyers who want charm and convenience, Arvada is staying near the top of their list, and the appreciation shows it. Taking the top spot on our list of best performing suburbs is Lakewood, with a 5.3% increase in home prices over the past year. In May of last year, the median home price in Lakewood was $546,000. Today, it's sitting at $575,000. That's not just a solid jump, it's the highest appreciation out of all 20 major suburbs we tracked across the Denver metro area. So what's driving the growth? Well, first, Lakewood has always had one huge advantage: location. It's just 10 to 15 minutes from downtown Denver, depending on traffic, and you're only 20 minutes from the foothills. That means you're close to everything. And if you're on the western side of Lakewood, you might only be 5 minutes to the foothills. So during the week, mountain access is super duper easy. And while some suburbs feel like bedroom communities, Lakewood has its own identity, okay? There's no single look or layout here. You've got classic mid-century ranches, 1970 split levels, urban condos, and even new construction going up in areas like Solterra and Green Mountain, okay? That diversity in housing keeps demand strong because it draws in different types of buyers: first-timers, move-up buyers, even downsizers looking for convenience and lifestyle over square footage. And importantly, the price points are still relatively accessible. At $575,000, Lakewood offers a lot more value compared to higher-priced areas like Golden, Louisville, or even parts of Highlands Ranch. Another big win for Lakewood is transit and amenities. It has multiple light rail stations, access to 6th Avenue, C470, and US 285. Whether you're commuting into the city, heading to the mountains, or working in the tech center, it just works for a lot of people. Lifestyle-wise, Lakewood punches above its weight. You've got Belmar, the modern shopping and dining hub, Bear Creek Lake Park, Red Rocks right around the corner, and an active parks and rec system. People moving here aren't just buying a house, they're buying access to Colorado living without the long drive. So yeah, Lakewood isn't the trendiest suburb, but that's probably part of why it's winning so well. It's central, livable, and consistent. And in a market that's been anything but consistent lately, a kind of stability is what buyers are showing up for. So if you're just thinking about buying, selling, or even just curious about what your home's worth in today's market, don't guess. Let's run the numbers together. I'll get you what's really happening in your specific area and how to make a smart move in a shifting market. Just shoot me a text or give me a call. Here's my cell phone. And if you want to go deeper, check out my video on 7 Denver suburbs people are actually leaving right here, where I break down what's driving the trends and how to read between the headlines.